My name is Brian Solis. I am Principal Analyst and Futurist at Altimeter Group, which is a profit company. I am also the author of several reports on digital transformation and innovation, and that's what brings us here today, is to talk about innovation and the changing landscape for customers and businesses. I refer to these times as digital Darwinism, which is basically technology evolves, markets evolve, behaviors also evolve. And to compete, companies are increasingly investing not just in innovation, but new technologies, also growing data streams. To innovate, we have to look not just within our own industry, but also outside industries. For example, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Uber and Lyft, these are companies that are changing the game for customer experience. They're competing in ways that are changing consumer behaviors, but also their needs, delivering on convenience, personalization, all stitched together by data. So today, throughout this session, what we're going to learn is how Experian is embracing innovation to modernize services and products specific to the growing needs of real-time customers, and also to explore ways in which businesses can empower their new innovation strategies to deliver new generations of products and services for these new generations of customers. Because to win, especially in an era of digital Darwinism, takes understanding the digital customer, but also delivering new experiences and new value that meets their needs in real time. So over the next half hour or so, I'll be joined by Experian executives who are going to explore how smart IT infrastructures combined with R&D, innovative R&D, are paving the way for a new generation of products and services, but more importantly, that are setting the stage for how all companies can be innovative and compete in this era of digital Darwinism. So up first, I'd like to invite Global CIO Barry Liebenson, who recently led a digital transformation project to modernize Experian's business. Barry, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks, Brian.
It's really my pleasure, and hopefully we will all learn something new here. So a lot of companies boast about their digital transformation. In fact, digital transformation and innovation are probably the two most common buzzwords that I hear in the industry today. But how have you and your team helped differentiate Experian through your investments in digital transformation and innovation?
Yeah, so I really have two groups of constituents. I have our outside customers, that we deliver products to, and then we have the internal organization, and both are impacted by a lot of the digital work that we're doing. In the case of customers, we've really seen some dramatic ways in the way customers want to consume information. They're on a digital journey themselves, and gone are the days where we could sort of prescribe how they consume things. They want them in real time. They want large quantities of data. They want to be able to consume it when they want, in the way they want. And that's really changed the way that we've gone to market with a lot of our products. And it's also changed the way we build things. So, an approach that's very cloud native, that gives us flexibility to run in AWS, to run in Azure, or to run in our own private cloud. And the ability to scale these applications and to move them around, and so that we can be as flexible as our customers want us to be. At the same time, enabling the thousands of developers that we have internally to all be moving in the same direction and to be building products and to be able to reuse that technology. So a lot of investments in basically common technology platforms, new ways of doing work, really moving to an agile methodology, and really being able to address customer needs more rapidly.
Yeah, certainly, because the customer expectations, I often say that impatience is a virtue these days. How have the evolving needs of the modern credit bureau influenced the way that Experian operates?
Yeah, so certainly the ability to do large-scale analytical operations, better decision-making. Customers want the ability to see enormous sets of information, in real time. And previously we would do large computational jobs for them in a batch mode or something like that. And we really have transformed the business a great deal by providing them with the ability to use these tools in real time and to do what-if scenarios and run their own analytical models. Again, these were big changes that we made in the way a lot of our products operated, largely at the request of customers, wanting to be able to move more quickly, removing the friction so that we didn't have to, play a role. They could actually use the tools themselves and run scenarios without, having to have a whole bunch of people holding their hands. Moving the stack so that different levels of technical users would be able to use the technology. So a lot of changes around ease of use, making products more real time, and really sort of addressing customer requirements to take some of the friction out.
Right, no small feat, certainly. I'd love to hear how Experian is delivering on these demands.
Yeah, so we've adopted a lot of new technology platforms that I think a lot of large corporations are moving towards. A lot of open source technology built around things like containers, like microservices and an API set of strategies. As I said, moving more towards commodity hardware away from proprietary platforms, and also getting everybody to be building products the same way around the globe. So, we operate around the world. We have large development organizations around the world. And to be able to reuse these technology platforms gives us a pretty significant head start in the industry, so that something that we build in the US or something that we build in Brazil can be used in the United Kingdom, or something that we build in the United Kingdom can then be leveraged in some part of Asia. That whole concept of reuse and microservices has really become a big part of our strategy, along with a very much a data center agnostic approach. So we can, we have some customers that want us to keep their data on-prem. We have some customers that want us to cloud enable our applications for them. It's really important that we can address all of those needs. And so the technologies that we've have adopted and the strategy that we've been deploying over the last several years has really been focused at meeting customer needs and flexibility.
And I think that flexibility is what's key. It's not just having an agile technology infrastructure, but also an agile mindset to see the needs of the new customer, and also to enable businesses to deliver those against those needs.
Yeah, we often talk about the impact that mobile technology has had on our industry. And it used to be that a single release once a year was sort of the expectation. You get one major release and some small point releases. But with agile development technology becoming more pervasive, and with mobile technology, people have this expectation of sort of a much more frequent set of upgrades, new features, and that kind of thing. And we've had to adapt to that type of a model in the enterprise space as well. And by moving to agile and really interacting with customers a great deal, we've been able to really increase the frequency of releases and provide better capabilities to our customers.
Fantastic. Well, Barry, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, Brian.
As you could see, Experian is really investing not just in agility, but also future-proofing its data for its business customers as well as its business's consumers. So that's led to some really interesting developments on the product side in terms of innovation and capabilities. So what I'd like to do now is move to invite my next guest, which I think we're going to start getting really specific about not just product innovation, but also notice operational, philosophical mindsets, setting an entire organization in a new direction with vision and purpose. So up next is Experian Group President and Head of Credit Bureau, Alex Lintner. Please come up, Alex. Alex, Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you as well. It's been all 5 minutes since our rehearsal time.
Yeah, exactly.
We just heard from Barry about the development of Experian's dedicated IT infrastructure as well as the agility. But can you please elaborate on the role that this infrastructure has played in modernizing your credit bureau?
Yeah, I really see our consumer information services business here in the US, or the credit bureau as most people call it, and in fact our credit bureaus around the world as the primary beneficiary of this new technology infrastructure that Barry just described. See, we view ourselves as being the consumer's bureau. And being the consumer's bureau really means that we want to enable our customers, large lenders, or lenders of all sizes, to give the consumer what they want. And what they're looking for is less friction. Less friction means less time spent, less paper intensive, less tedious loan application processes, and fair interest rates. And that's what we want to enable for all loan types. So whether it's a credit card, whether it's a car loan or a car lease, whether it's a small personal loan, or even for the largest lending decisions that most families make, a mortgage, we want to deliver on that promise. And the second objective we have is we want to expand our reach. So we want to reach more customers and allow them to get the lending offers, the loan offers that they want in a safe way. So it needs to be safe for consumers on one hand, and on the other hand, it needs to give the lender accurate and comprehensive information so they can make a decision who is qualified.
Interesting. So that's a great aim, and I'd love to hear what that looks like. So if you could share an example of transforming a business, that'd be great.
Yeah, the example I'd like to share is our Ascend data platform. It essentially integrates analysis, development, and deployment of analytics and decisioning and production. And that with data inside that is the full suite of the credit history that we have on all credit eligible Americans, so all adults 18 years and older. So for 15 years of history, we have every trade line. And our customers can combine our data with any data that they want. So it gives them unprecedented breadth and depth, superior breadth and depth of data if they add third-party data that they choose to add, or of course their own data, which every client does. And then you can run sophisticated analysis against all of that data in a matter of minutes versus what takes now several weeks for people to perform. And that then unleashes the potential for great efficiency, for greater accuracy, better decisions, which is what our clients want.
Absolutely. So I heard there's this innovative new technology called a smartphone, and a lot of us are starting to use it, and certainly a lot of the innovators out there that are delivering convenience and basically new examples of customer experience are all based in mobile. So I'd love to hear stories and examples from you of how you're innovating in this space.
Well, as you have said, I think I carry mine right out here. They told me not to put it in a pocket because of microphones, but here you go. Our lives depend on these devices now. We organize our personal lives and our professional lives on our mobile devices. And as such, mobile is part of our innovation strategy. And not just to deliver a credit offer. That's too simple now. But to deliver a credit offer together with the right message at the right time, in the right place. So the consumer doesn't have to do what is still normal today, use pen and paper to fill out a credit application with 40 fields, or do all that on their computer and have so many keystrokes. People don't want that anymore. So we have learned how to pre-fill data safely after we authenticate consumers. So that's more convenient for the consumer, and it helps the lenders make smart and fraud-protected lending decisions.
Yeah, I think that's important. A lot of times we take things like safety and security for granted on the consumer side of things, but there's a tremendous amount of work that has to happen behind the scenes, and I think that's also a foundation for innovation that deserves more attention. How do you see text for credit improving the customer experience?
Yeah, our text for credit solution is a powerful solution for consumers because it allows them to securely bypass pen and paper or keystroke-intensive applications on a mobile device. Essentially, how it works is they pull up their texting app, their SMS app, and text a keyword to a designated short code, so to a phone number, or it can be less than 7 digits, it could be 5 digits. And when they do that, then they receive an offer. And they can review the offers and go through the offers, choose one, and if they are approved, they then receive an instant decision. Or whether they're approved or rejected, they receive an instant decision. And have then access to the credit via their mobile device. So it revolutionizes the shopping experience for the consumer if those messages and those offers are delivered at the right time, in the right place, with the right message.
Alex, I want to thank you for joining me. And before I send you off, I just want to say that as a consumer, hearing that, I mean, that isn't just innovative. That's intuitive and that's familiar. And that does business the way that I'm learning how to interact through all of my favorite apps and services. So thank you very much for your time.
Brian, always a pleasure to see you.
On that note, we're going to continue along the innovation journey. I'd like to welcome Eric Howler. He's Experian's Executive Vice President and Head of Global Data Labs. This is where I personally like to geek out, especially in a lot of my research these days. He's going to talk about how combining raw data and artificial intelligence led to the creation of a voice-controlled version of this text-to-credit option. Eric,
Ryan,
great to see you.
Same here.
Thank you for joining me. So, a key part of innovation is powering opportunities for problems that may not even exist yet. And I think that's partly a great foundation for innovation itself. But how are you and Experian doing this?
So Experian Data Labs is the R&D arm of Experian. We were created to push breakthrough experimentation, particularly around the fusion of data and artificial intelligence. We've built labs around the globe. We have a lab here in North America. We have one in London and one in Sao Paulo. And it's comprised of data scientists, engineers, product professionals that come together to solve client problems. A lot of the products that we're talking about this, in this session have all come out of our labs around the globe. Text for Credit, fantastic product, actually was a result of a lot of trial and error. In our labs, we get that freedom or flexibility to pivot and try to listen to the client's problem and figure out the best way to solve it. In that case, we went through beacons. We developed mobile apps that nobody wanted to download. We tried to integrate ourselves with Wi-Fi, and in the end, it was a simple technology that allowed for a seamless customer experience to thrive. I think Alex said it well in that, Text for Credit was a great gateway to get past pen and paper. And we see another gateway around keyboards. You think about, you're on your laptop or even on your phone and you're trying to type things in. It's one of those things that it's just nature of the beast. You can't get past it. And we see voice as that initial gateway. The challenge with voice, though, is especially when you're applying it to the world of credit, is we see that it could actually accelerate with the integration of display. I don't know if you have an Alexa or Google Home device, Apple Home. When you're talking, it's great to play Jeopardy on. It's great to ask for the weather, play some music. But when you're getting into the world of credit, that selection process of what's the best credit product for me, given a certain object that I might be buying and I'm going to need access to credit for, it's not that straightforward to ask your Alexa device. But we do see this opportunity where when display is fused with voice, all of a sudden the shopping experience changes, and that access to credit seems to be more of a natural part of the whole flow. So actually, we've gone ahead and we have a demo. This is infrastructure we've already developed, and if it's okay with you, we'd love to share that. Alan Sang, who's a vice president of analytics within one of our labs, is demoing our Voice for Credit product. Now, in the video, we're catching it right after the shopping experience has occurred. So, actually, what we've done in our labs is we've developed a technology to assist in the shopping experience. So, in this case, if you're you see a car that you like, maybe you're watching television or you're on your laptop, you see a car that you like, taking that person through the entire experience of choosing the options, getting to see the inside of the car, the outside of the car, asking lots of questions, engaging in that space, and then when the right time comes, say, you know, can I even buy this car? Do I qualify? And that's what this video is about.
Before we seek the best market price, would you like me to check if you are pre-qualified for an auto loan?
Yes.
Great. Welcome to Experian Instant Credit. With whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Alan Sang.
Hello, Alan. A 2018 Innovate Model E with the average accessory package has an MSRP of $45,982 plus taxes and license fees. There are 6 lenders that can offer you financing. With a 10% down payment, the best terms are with Innovate Financial Services. They are offering a 5-year, fixed rate of 3.29% and payments of $654.29 monthly. Would you like to begin the pre-qualification process with Innovate Financial Services?
Yes.
Okay, Alan. Please tell me your 5-digit zip code.
92121.
Okay, Alan. Please view your information on the display and say confirm information to proceed.
Confirm.
Here is what Experian has found based on what you told me. Say apply now if the displayed information is correct.
Apply now.
Congratulations on the pre-qualification offer. Would you want me to contact the nearest dealership?
Yes.
The nearest participating dealership found. Would you like me to forward the offer so that you can begin the purchase process as soon as you arrive?
Yes.
Your offer has been forwarded to the dealership of your choice.
Wow. So you're talking to, when I'm not an analyst, I'm a consumer, you're talking to somebody who orders dog food from Alexa beyond just checking weather. So with a clear expectation for voice power credit, why doesn't something like this exist? Why don't I have access to this yet?
Well, you will. I think it's a matter of time. We're already in this space today. I mean, our consumer services group actually developed an Alexa skill that you can download. If you're a member of our service, you can check your credit and understand you know, how your score is doing. And that's kind of where the market is right now for those types of skills. We are still waiting for a bit of the railroad to be knocked out before we go in a major way. And what I mean by railroad, I'm talking about Alexa and Google Home integrated with that display. So you see in that video, you see this full display experience. We know we're going to get there, and so we're a bit ahead of the curve on this one, but we're very excited about what opportunities are going to come out of it.
Yeah, I'm excited. So thank you very much for joining me and for sharing your story.
Oh, you bet. Hey, thanks a lot.
With that, we're going to now move on to a conversation that's really about the underlying foundation for all of this stuff. I think that in many ways, as customers, we sort of take for granted all of the complexity behind protecting our identities. So I would now like to place the emphasis on safety and security. I'd like to introduce Experian Group President of Decision Analytics and Data Quality, Steve Platt. Thank you very much for joining, Steve.
My pleasure.
So to the average consumer, I think identity is almost straightforward, maybe too straightforward, but it's incredibly complex and sophisticated, especially now as we become more connected, always on, more real time. So I'd love to hear how you're approaching this evolution to identity platforms.
So identity, you'd think, would be a pretty straightforward thing, but it turns out identity in the digital world has really changed an awful lot, and in fact changed dramatically in the last 10 years. And it may be helpful to contrast identity in the digital world versus the physical world. Brian, probably like me, you travel an awful lot, you go to hotel rooms, to airports, And you present yourself and you present a credential. You present a driver's license, you present a passport. And the combination of you together with that document is enough to be able to confirm identity. It's not foolproof, but it's certainly enough to confirm identity. That's a lot harder in the digital world. How do you make sure that the person using that mobile phone actually is who they say they are? Very challenging problem. Used to be we would rely on information like names, addresses, mobile phone numbers, social security numbers as a way to confirm identity. What you know was that confirmation. But in the world today where there's data breaches almost every day, it's harder and harder to rely on that information to confirm identities. So then we default to usernames, to passwords, to one-time passwords, a variety of techniques that have created incredible complexity for consumers. I have an awful lot of online accounts, I'm sure you do as well. The average user has between 7 and 8 different accounts. Over 10% of those users actually have the same password that they use for all the different accounts, which of course creates a challenge. So in that environment, and we poll the marketplace every year through our Global Fraud and Identity Report, we find that change has to happen. Authentication methods have to improve, have to develop, and that's an opportunity for Experian.
You have consumer needs, and then you have business services.
Right.
And I'd love to hear how Experian is helping the industry approach authentication in these new ways.
Well, as I said, it's a challenging problem for business, of course. How do you present a really frictionless, seamless consumer experience while also providing the security that you need as a business to protect your assets? Very challenging problem. And as I said, the world of fraud and identity has evolved a lot in the last few years. So we believe identity is best solved first through intelligence, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Secondly, passive authentication, because consumers don't want to have friction as they use their mobile devices. And thirdly, a combination of different partners that together can create a really strong, solid type of identity authentication system. So it all starts with a technology platform. We've made a whole lot of investments as a company. We've bought very innovative companies. We've partnered with innovative thought leaders with new technology solutions. And we put all those together into a platform we call CrossCore, which is an integration method for our clients to call one-to-many different services depending on the type of transaction they might be using, whether it's e-commerce transaction, a login attempt, a new application. Those partners may be device intelligence. We have that capability ourselves, but there's other providers in the marketplace. Could be document verification, the ability to use your phone, scan in a driver's license, match that driver's license to a facial recognition, also very strong. We partner with companies like Mitek and Accurate that do that. Biometrics, awful lot of biometric capabilities in the marketplace today, whether it's on iPhone or on Android devices, or through partners like Dayon, like BioCatch, that actually look at how you interact with your device to create that level of confidence that you are who you say you are. Identity and authentication is a very complicated space, and we find today that you have to be able to provide a variety of different products and services to get to the level of confidence that businesses require to do business. And as we all know today, as a consumer, I expect to be able to do everything on my mobile phone that I would do in branches or on call centers.
I think that's the it's the real magic of what you're talking about here, is that it's incredibly sophisticated. I mean, and disruptive technologies aren't slowing down, and the whole horizon is still in flux and still taking shape. And here you are building an infrastructure to protect identities. So how do you see this evolving focus on identity management impacting businesses?
Well, it's a tough challenge for business today, obviously, because consumers expect that completely seamless experience online. The way they interact with social media is the way they want to interact with their banks, their telco providers. But it's a whole lot more risk and opportunity that comes through those interactions with the telcos and the financial services companies. So businesses are challenged. They have to provide the level of security and trust through those interactions, but make it look almost completely invisible to consumers. Consumers still expect that as they do business online, that those organizations are going to protect them. They're going to protect them, they're going to use the latest technologies, but actually not get in the way of the transactions themselves. So very challenging problem. It's an area of continual investment and innovation for our customers that we do business with today. And our strategy is to create platforms and integration methods where we can bring the very best in the industry and bring it quickly. Fraud continues to change, it evolves every single day, And our clients have to be continually mobile, active in how they try different techniques to solve and counter those latest threats. So it's a continuing problem. There is no silver bullet, unfortunately. We'd love for there to be one, but there isn't one. So our strategy is build a great platform, have best-in-class capabilities, and that's our best path to protect business.
Wow, Steve, well, thank you very much
Brian.
for sharing your story. I'd also like to say thank you to Eric, Alex, and Barry once again for also sharing their stories on how the landscape for assessing and verifying credit is rapidly changing. I think the other underlying theme that you've also heard, besides building a smart IT infrastructure and also modernizing products and services, is also having a culture that promotes and fosters innovation, because I think what we've all heard is that the consumer is not slowing down in terms of their adoption of new technologies and new apps and new services, and that bar for customer experience and also immediacy and convenience and personalization continues to rise, and businesses that win in digital Darwinism also have to keep up with, if not get ahead of, those services. So products like text for credit and voice for credit are paving the way for a new genre, a new generation of business services that I think are going to meet those needs and actually create great new experiences in the process for customers. To learn more about Experian and Experian's innovative products, such as text for credit and voice for credit, please visit Experian.com. I'd also like to thank you for being part of our session today. I hope you learned something as I did, and hope to hear from you online and see you soon. Thank you very much.